we ran into each other here at the Loves, and I guess, what is it, Midland?
Midland, yeah.
Yeah, Midland. All right, so Mike happens to have a YouTube channel, and what's your channel called?
Monopoly Mike.
And how long have you been driving?
2 years now.
2 years. Where did you start off?
Started off with Swift.
Swift.
I went to school in Richmond, Virginia for 5 weeks, and I got my CDL there.
Okay, so you got your license with Swift?
Yeah.
Through their training program?
Yeah.
How long is training there before you're actually on your own?
It depends on you, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took me 5 weeks.
Now, is that just strictly drive-in?
I did strictly drive-in, yeah, with Swift for about 3 months, and then after the 3 months, I jumped to car hauling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
But with the car hauling, I was in the Dodge Ram 5500, 3 car hauling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that your company, or was that for an owner?
No, I was working for an op.
Okay. And how was your experience with that? As well?
It was a lot of work, but it was OTR, and we got paid 25% of the load.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was all right, but I felt like it would be more beneficial if you was an owner operator instead of a company guy doing car hauling.
Right.
Way better beneficial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of drivers that that's where the money's at.
Yeah,
car hauling.
Yeah.
Is that an industry where you think you might go back to eventually? As an owner op, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, after that, where did you go to next?
After that, I went to. I was working for some Haitians, owner operator.
Mm-hmm.
I was running teams. We had the rider contract. We pulled rider vans.
Okay.
We did OTR on that, and we did that for about at least 6 months.
Okay.
Did that for about 6 months.
And doing teams, I've never done team except for when I was in training with my first company. Was it somebody that they basically said, "Hey, this is the guy you're going to be driving with," or did they kind of interview you and kind of matched you with somebody that you might connect with?
No, it was no matching. It was just like, hey, this guy's coming down from New York. I live in Philadelphia. Just to let you guys know, I live in Philadelphia. But he was like, hey, I want you guys to go get this truck out of Kansas, out of OTR Leasing, which he was leasing his trucks from.
Okay.
So we met up on the flight, basically, a connecting flight.
Okay.
That's how I met my partner.
And I mean, any other experiences like in that setting where you're doing teams and you're pretty much in each other's face all the time? How did y'all communicate as far as going to the restroom, eating, sleeping? I mean, were y'all pretty much both I guess awake around the same time before y'all changed shifts, or did y'all alternate shifts, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was kind of hard for me, man, to get used to. We did like sometimes I would do like 5 hours of driving because I was still new to OTR work. So he was the more experienced. He had 10 years. Oh,
okay.
So he drove more, and then as I got, he drove more at night than I did at day. And then as I got used to it, I started, driving at night. And then as far as, communicating, as far as, hey, man, we'll let each other know, hey, my time's up. It's your time. Let's stop. Make sure that when we're switching, we're at a truck stop where one of us can shower, eat. Both of us can do the same thing. Right. Okay. You know what I mean? Make it convenient.
Right.
As a team, you got to make it convenient for yourself.
Exactly.
So that was the most important.
Right. So, I've never really slept while somebody else was driving in an 18-wheeler.
That's the hardest part.
How long did it take you to get comfortable, to feel safe that you can fall asleep while someone else is driving? To pretty much a vehicle that's grossing almost 80,000 miles, going down the road 75 miles an hour. Yeah, man.
I actually had to start taking Benadryls to go to sleep because the truck is just constantly rocking.
Right.
And yeah, man. I mean, that's the hardest. I mean, the hardest part is sleeping. while the truck is moving. So it's hard, but you got to get some sleep, man. You know.
Now, the income that you were getting during that period, did it seem like it was worth it to be team?
From my experience, yeah. I was flat salary doing with that guy. I was flat salary at $1,400 a week. Okay. Flat, no matter if the truck broke down or we was getting flat. I think he was getting about $1,600 flat.
Oh, okay.
So.
And how long did you do that?
6 months with these guys.
And after that, I mean, during that time period, were you already looking for an out? The last couple of months of that team.
Well, we were
upon?
both looking for out because the owners they wasn't operating how we thought owner operators should operate. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their operation skills were sucky.
Okay.
And we were looking for something else, and I think we both quit.
Oh, okay.
We both quit, and he ended up doing something else, and I ended up going back teaming again. But this time I was pulling reefer with some with the owner operators. They were Russian, and I found it on Craigslist. I called him up and said, hey, can you I need a job. He said, ain't no problem. They put me in a brand new 2019 Volvo automatic with a guy that was about maybe 56 years old. So he had a lot of experience. And did that for about I want to say a couple, like three to 4 more months. Did that. We were pulling from Philly to California.
Okay.
Reefer twice a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
So. And hauling reefer, I mean, what did you learn anything new? Or?
Yeah, man. Reefer, it's a pain in the butt, Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, man, because the thing with the reefer is the brokers and the dispatchers, they're constantly calling you to make sure that the reefer is set on the correct temperature and see how far you are, and they're always calling you with the reefer. Really? Yeah, they're harassing you constantly. You know what I mean? Just because it's valuable product. Right. So that was one of the major parts about that.
What were you typically hauling? As a produce?
Produce. Yeah, produce. Yeah, mushrooms, fruits. Things like
now, was it a dedicated customer where you would just always hit the same spot in California?
So how it went was, okay, we'll get a load from Philly or Jersey going to like Minnesota, right? Well, sometimes we would have like one stop, like a stop before Cali. Like we would be going to Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then California would be the last stop before heading back east.
And y'all would head back east empty? Or
No. We would head back east with a load. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then your next step after that, I mean, what'd you go to next after
reefer? After reefer, I came into the Oilfield.
Oh, the Oilfield.
Yeah.
You started off with what company?
1845.
And that was back in last year or
January 2019.
Oh, yeah. This year, okay.
Yeah, this year.
And what was your experience there as starting? I know you had to do the 3-day orientation.
Yeah.
Were you kind of like already prepared for what was to come during the 3-day orientation, or did you is there something that you learned or that you weren't prepared or weren't expecting during the orientation, being that it's different from reefer and drive-in and hauling vehicles?
Yeah, PPE equipment. I know you needed your PPE. They said you needed your PPE, and it's a lot different in the oil field. It's like as far as going to the loaders, the shippers, and the well sites. As far as mileage, is a lot different mileage-wise than OTR, and that's the difference for me. I mean, what I saw.
Now, with 1845, when you started back in January, was that to drive for 1845, or was it for an owner-operator at that time?
Okay, so I was driving for an owner-operator that was leased on the 1845.
Okay. And what kind of equipment was did he have?
I was driving a 2014 Peterbilt 389.
Okay. And what was your experience with that equipment? Was it good?
It had a Packer engine in it. It was good. It was good. He deleted all the deaths, and I mean, I really didn't have any problems, man. Just little problems, you know.
Now, when you were, and this was for pneumatic loads?
No, this is sandbox.
That was sandbox.
Sandbox, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sandbox, yeah.
And how long did you stay with that owner?
Stayed with that owner from January to March.
March.
Yeah.
And you got out because
the pay, what he advertised wasn't what we were getting.
Okay. What was the advertisement by? What did they ask?
$2,200 to $3,000 a week.
A week. Okay. And what were you actually getting?
I was getting about 1,000.
1,000 a week.
Yeah, minimum, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
And how many loads would you say was to get that 1,000?
To get that 1,000, that was about 11 to 12 loads.
Okay. And was that in the West Texas area, or was it
West Texas? Yeah.
Okay. And after March, where did you go next?
After March, I went to another owner-operator. We were hauling arrows up on a step deck trailer.
Okay. And at that point, you've never done step deck?
No, I never done step deck. No, that was
So,
the first time.
Did you have to chain, or were there actually locks built into the flatbed?
It was-
of the step deck.
Yeah, it was locks, but it was only for one box.
Okay.
So yeah, you only could lock one box down, and then you would have to strap the rest of the two, because we would haul 3 empty to the well, drop 2 off, and then take 1 to the shipper and get it loaded and take it back to the well.
Now, do you happen to remember what your tear weight was with an empty box on the step deck
On the step deck.
when you were pulling those boxes?
Be honest with you, nah, man. I don't.
Because, like, in my experience, because this is my first time actually hauling sandboxes, and before, when you're pulling a pneumatic, you know, my tear weight was right around 31,000, and now with this chassis and empty box, my tear weight's right around 36,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So it is a huge difference of 5,000 pounds extra when you're doing sandboxes and doing the chassis. So I was just kind of curious to, with the sandbox, with the step deck, and that type of box, because I don't know what it's actually made of. Like with these boxes here, they're steel, they're all welded, but from their boxes, I'm like, it looks on the outside shell, it looks kind of like a plastic kind of aluminum. I mean, more aluminum than anything, I believe. But I was just kind of curious if you knew what that was. But how much sand did you have to have filled into that box?
With the step deck, it's close to 44,000 as you can get.
44,000.
Yeah.
So would you be pretty close to 80K?
Pretty close, 79.
Yeah. Okay. And that was with what kind of equipment? What kind of truck was that?
That truck was a Peterbilt 2010 389.
And that was a 10-speed, 13-speed?
10-speed.
And the 10-speed, did that handle pretty well out there in the terrain you were in?
Yeah, man. But I was in Oklahoma pulling those arrows up boxes, and the hills were pretty rough, you know.
Okay.
For that type of speed, but I mean, you know, if you know how to drive manually, man, you'll make it work, you know.
Right. Any issues like getting stuck out there with the step deck or anything like that?
Nah. Oh well, yeah. I did get stuck. I got stuck in the well one time. I was making a turn into the well. It was a sharp turn, and it was a lot of what are those pump trucks? They were blocking, you know, kind of in the way. And once I made the turn, my tandems on the step deck, they were digging up the dirt.
Oh, okay.
So it got stuck in the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I got stuck. So.
Yeah, to get a wrecker or chain.
One of the forklift guys came out, and basically what he did was he lifted the trailer up with the forklift, and he moved it out of the
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And
so.
And that was just in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long were you there?
Man, probably about 2-3 weeks. That's it, man.
And your next move?
My next move was getting back with 1845 with another owner operator, recommended my friend Robert, by the way, our friend.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we both. Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out we both know the same guy.
Yeah.
Robert and I started with 1845. This same orientation class. I talked to him. We were sitting down, just killing some time, and talked to him for a little bit, and became close friends. Worked in the same area, and then I left. But he doesn't know I do YouTube, by the way. I've been holding it secret for over a year and a half that I've been out here. He doesn't know, so I don't know if he'll find out. But eventually, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robert's a good guy, and turns out I saw your truck, and I actually seen your truck before. I had parked. There's an empty space between like a Domino's and an IHOP off I-20.
Oh yeah, that's in Millen.
Yeah, I was parked there first, and I think you pulled in later. And I saw the truck, and I noticed like, oh, that's the other truck that Robert used to drive.
Yeah.
And I was gonna talk to you, but I think you were on the phone. So I was like, nah, maybe next time I'll see you. But we happened to run into each other, and didn't know it was actually another YouTuber. I was like, so we come here over here to the Loves, and I'm walking out. I'm like, all right. I said, all right. There's wait time is not that long. I'll probably go get my stuff and then get the shower. And then I heard, hey, you Htown? I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh snap.
Yeah,
like yeah. So we talked a little bit, and we decided, all right, we're gonna go ahead and do a video. And since you started doing the oil field, what are the questions that you've been getting, like on your YouTube channel or emails? Like, how do people reach out to you? Is it strictly through your comment section, or do you usually put out an email, or is the comment section usually where they hit you up? Yeah,
the comment section is where they usually hit me up. I mean, I had questions like, can you let me know how did you find the jobs for the oil field, which I have a video of how the Craigslist. I have a video for that.
Okay.
It's showing you how I found the job in the oil field.
Right. And it's not really that hard to find an ad. It's just you just gotta do multiple searches in different areas.
Yeah.
I gotta tell everybody, Craigslist is the best one to find either a company that's usually it's the recruiter for that company that's putting out those ads, or it's an owner operator who's searching for a driver to haul for to drive his truck. And it all depends on what company he's with, the flexibility, whether how many years of experience you're going to need. So if you're trying to come out here with no experience, you just got your license yesterday, it's probably not going to happen. It's like 99% chance that it's not. They're just going to say no.
Yeah, man, you got to get some type of experience, because
we can't work miracles.
Yeah, man.
Because you're driving on private property that are either owned by a family or it's owned by the property's owned by Exxon or Shell or whatever, and they want you to have the experience to make sure you're not going to hit anything that's not moving, like a post, cattle guard, or the equipment that's actually on site that's doing the fracking. They want to make sure you've got a couple of years under your belt, either a year. But the only company that I know of that will hire with at least 1 year is 1845.
1845.
As one.
Yeah.
Also, Stevens Tanker Division.
Stevens Tanker Division.
With their ads say that as long as you have 6 months of driving experience, they'll take you and train you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still the case, but as of a couple of months ago, that was what I saw, at least. And a lot of people go that way. But I will say, if you're planning to do the training program, get your license with Stevens Transport, the first couple of months, they are not going to consider that as driving experience. If you're planning to transfer to their tanker division, they'll allow you to transfer over when I think you hit 10 or 11, because they're not considering the first couple of months as experience at all. That's just training. So, and they're pretty strict on their training. They want you to make sure you get so many hours of driving in the mountains and so many hours of driving. I don't know what other but over the road and stuff like that with a trainer before you're actually on your own.
Yeah.
But what other questions are you getting as well, as far as getting in? A lot of want to know what company you're with, or who do you recommend?
Right.
It's hard to recommend anybody because the company that's good will not be good the next week. It changes.
Yeah,
anything can happen. Contract issues, rate issues. Driver could have done something, and that would have been the last straw with the safety division that said, all right, that's it, we're not going to deal with you at all anymore. Or another company just come in and outbid you, and that could have been a big contract. So it happens. So that's why it's hard for me to say what I recommend, because it changes. A lot of these companies want to get more contracts, so they're going to go really out their way to, especially if they're sharing a well. Man, I've had an experience where, or I've heard of an experience where they will call out another company saying, hey, he was speeding, or he cut me off. And a lot of these companies are strict as you can't skip people, unless the driver's like, hey, I'm sleeping, go ahead and drive around me. But if they get into it, all they have to do is call their boss, and their boss calls their safety, the well site safety, and you could lose a contract like that.
Wow.
Or if a driver just decides to throw their trash out on the lease road, and they get caught, that's it. They're fired, or they could probably lose the contract. So, any other questions if you've seen that you might want to address?
Basically, man, I mean, get your CDLs, man, and get some experience under your belt. Get 6 months to a year. Make it a year, man, if you can. You can come out to 1845, man, and you can definitely get a job at 1845 and see how it is in the oil field,
Right.
Things like that. And just want to say, man, who inspired me to come to the oil field was Htown Trucker, African Mamba, Fuck You Money, and chasing Andrew Jackson. Those are the guys that inspired me, man. So
Yeah, same here. I started with them and reached out to them, kind of get an idea, and eventually was like, all right, I'm gonna do it.
yeah, man. Just make it happen. You know what I mean? And it's definitely worth it. I mean, if you want to get a taste of it, just come out, man. Try it. Even if you got experience, just come out to the oil field, try it, man. You might like it. So.
Yeah. Oh, and that is also another something we can get into. Who is this made for? I mean, a lot of people will come out here and not be prepared what to experience.
Yeah.
You're going to be in situations where you might not have a shower for a couple of days. So if you're the kind of guy or person that likes to take showers daily, that might be hard to come by. On some of these wells, between the shipper and the well, there might be a situation where you have a place to fuel up, but not a place to park, and not a place to shower, and your food will be very limited. Your food options will be limited. And what else? If you're doing pneumatic side, you're going to be covered in sand. You're dealing with a blower. You're blowing off product through your tank and hoses, and sand's going to be coming out of the chief or the silo and coming down on you. So you're going to be rained. You're going to have sand rain upon you. And with the pneumatic side, you're going to have PPE on, respirator. You're going to be covered. And if you're doing that in the summer, if you really have bad health issues, that could be an issue for you. Because if you're going to be outside in the summer, because you have to be outside when you're offloading a pneumatic, and manning the gauges, making sure your valves are open correctly, and you're monitoring your pressure valve and all that. You're going to be out there. If it's 110 degrees, it's going to feel probably 15 degrees hotter, because you're standing next to other trucks that are they're running their equipment. Blowers are all blowing, and it gets hot really quick, and you need to be well hydrated. So that could be an issue. Anything else that drivers might not be prepared coming out here?
What I hear a lot is from other drivers within, my company, 1845, is, new drivers come out here from off the road, over the road, and experienced drivers, and they're like, man, we ain't making no money, I can make more over the road, blase, blase. But, I like, for example, when we got rehired on back with 1845, there was a guy, he just came off the road, he got a Mac, automatic, and he was like, his first 2 weeks, he was like, man, it's slow, blah, blah, blah. And I just talked to him on the phone, 2 days ago, and we were running on the same well.
Okay.
He's like, man, I just did 13 loads and I made took home $4,100. He was like, man, you know how hard that would be is to do that, make that money over the road.
Yeah.
And he's from over the road.
Right.
So now he's like, now is it changing his mindset, So you got it's all obstacles and that play an effect, and it's definitely, especially in the oil field,
Right.
So
it's an up and down game for the sand part.
Yeah.
I have no experience in the water side.
Yeah.
I typically hear that it's a little bit more consistent, but you're doing more runs.
Right.
And then you might do 10 runs a day. I don't know, or average around that. But as far as oil field, up until a few months ago, they were also very slow as well.
Right. I heard.
And I heard now it's picking up.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a little bit more consistent. So if you got a license, I would say get your tanker endorsement and your hazmat endorsement.
Yeah, get those.
And keep up with it, because you never know, that might be an option for you. Don't just think that sand is going to be the place to go and make all your money, because that's why I started doing the YouTube, because back when I started, the ad said 8,000 to 12,000 a week.
Wow.
Like, okay, all right, cool, let's just do it. And then I never saw 12K, 8 to 12K a week.
Now, was that owner operator, or was that as a company driver?
That was as an owner operator.
Oh, okay.
I was seeing ads up in East Texas saying, hey, 8 to 12. I was like, okay. That might have been true back 2012 or whatever.
Yeah.
But things have changed. You're not going to average that. So be very skeptical if you see ads saying they're promising you 10 to 12K a week.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to see that out here.
And watch those ads that say 2,200, 3,000 a week. Because what you want to really know is, right? Okay, say if somebody puts an ad on Craigslist, they say, hey, we'll pay you 30% of the load. Okay, you call that that ad, and you said and you asked that owner operator, okay, what are you paying 30% of? Are you paying 30% of the net, or are you paying 30% of the gross? Because that's how I got into the first owner operator of, I was getting paid of the net. So his ad didn't say anything about net or gross, it just said load. So off the top of my head, I'm thinking the gross. So it's, I had to learn that. That's why I had to bite the bullet on that. But it got me where I needed to be. It got me the experience, and I like the oil field. I like pulling sandboxes. And eventually I'm gonna get my own truck. That's what I'm working on. Saving my money and working on right now. And I'm also looking into crude oil, because I heard it's a lot of money in that.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I heard. I have my hazmat tanker.
Right.
So what do you know about the crude oil side?
Now, crude oil, when I was doing it locally back in Houston, we do about 3 runs a day, occasionally 4, but we were doing slip seating. It was a day cab. It's very important that you test your oil every time. And for me, it was a 2-week period. I was riding with somebody, learning how to test the oil, because they require a certain quality. You're testing basically for how much dirt and water is inside the actual tank where you're pulling your oil from. If there's too much water, you have to reject it, or you have to call your boss and they have to call the pumper to come out there and then pull the water from the bottom, because the water is going to sit at the bottom and the oil is going to be on top, and as well as the sediment. Now, a situation where even the oil on top is dirty, it needs to be treated or heated, and you just can't do anything with it. You just have to reject it and have them wait until they have it treated until they call you back. But I would have loved to experience that out here.
Right. Yeah.
Because back at home, I had to deal with Houston traffic. Houston traffic is horrific, especially when I had to run from Conroe going all the way to pretty much almost Galveston. And so you're not from the area. That's on the opposite side of town, and I still have to go through a lot of highway and a lot of traffic. For those who are familiar with the 45 traffic in Houston, it's horrible. Northeast, inside downtown is just completely horrible. It's just something you really don't want to deal with on a daily, but I did for 3.5 years when I was there, and but it was a good experience. I have that in my resume, and I have the option to go back to that. I wanted to do that out here, but it didn't work out with the company. They failed to get to me within a decent amount of time, and I says, all right, I'm going to go with my plan B and pull boxes and not have any equipment installed. So yeah, we'll see. It's an option, but we'll see. I'm leaving it open to what I might come across later on.
Okay, cool, man.
But any particular company that you've noticed out here that you might want to do oil with?
Well, I noticed a couple companies like Nakota, Gibson. I haven't really researched it, but I know, I would need training and things like that to even get started,
Yeah, and just like in sand, there are tons of companies out here. There's so many sand companies. I would say it's probably triple the amount of oil companies, maybe.
Yeah.
One company I was interested with was Press Energy. I ran into a guy who was making pretty good money. He was making 9 to 10K back when it was busy,
right,
a week, and but it did slow down during the winter. But he said it eventually picked up. It picked up again. I was trying to sign on with Pinnacle because they were offering a program where
I heard about that.
They would install the equipment, the wet kit, and you would basically pay them back in increments, weekly or bi-weekly. That's the one that failed to get back with me, because by then I was like, all right, my truck notes is coming due. This truck needs to start working.
Right.
Because at that time I had a driver in another truck, and I'm just sitting at home trying to get my truck ready and trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. And but yeah, that was another company I was trying with. Gibson, that's a little bit bigger company, and
okay.
I've noticed them in Houston as well. And that was another option I was trying to go with a couple of years ago, but that's when the oil went down back again. And when I was with Gulf, that's why I decided, well, I'm gonna stay with Gulf Mark hauling crude oil, as it got down to where the barrels were, I think, $25 a barrel.
I heard about Gulf Mark too, yeah.
And they're Gulf Mark's strictly just company drivers. They don't haul any they don't do any owner operators, and it's always a slip seat usually, unless you're going to a different area to help out a different area, which I've done that before. I had to help out like Central Texas for a little bit, but it was enough for me to go over there, pick up a load, and then bring it back to Houston, and then maybe do a short load and then call it a day.
Yeah.
But do you think you might make that move this year?
As far as crude oil, I don't know about this year, but
Are you wanting to do that as a company or owner operator?
I would love to do it as a owner operator,
Right.
but yeah, that's why I say this year is all I'm just trying to focus on as much experience I can get in the oil field, and then definitely working on getting my truck in a couple months or however long it takes me to get it. That's the better move. It's better. It pays more to be an owner operator out here.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Anything else you want to touch up on? Any questions? I can't think of anything. We've already gone for 35 minutes on
Yeah,
this.
man. Yeah.
So I'm glad we covered some bases. I mean, some questions that we both get repeatedly.
Yeah.
I would say nothing else that comes out of my mind right now. But if not, then hopefully we can meet up and say, hey, let's touch up on these issues or these concerns that some people have asked me lately.
Right.
But dude, Mike, has been good. Again, you want to plug your YouTube channel?
That's Monopoly Mike. That's my YouTube name, Monopoly Mike. So if you type that in YouTube, you should be able to pop up and get my channel.
that. All right, well, hit him up, subscribe, hit the like button, and if you got any questions for him, go ahead and feel free to comment in his videos, or you got something to ask me, let me know. Just hit me up in the comment section, or hit me up on htowntrucker1@gmail.com. I think that's it for now. We're gonna call it a day. So take care, guys. Keep your head up, keep grinding, and we'll see you in the next vid. Bye.